Hello. Welcome to another edition of the Capitol Report. I'm Senator Roger Kahn. Today I have the high honor and great pleasure of having Chief Gerald Cliff with me, who's the chief of the Saginaw Police Department. Always a tough job being an officer, being fair and protecting us, and I think we ought to start with thank you for your service. Thank you for helping us.
Thank you for noticing.
Well, you know, we're living in a time where budgets are shrinking. We're living in a time where crime appears, well, not to be shrinking. And given that combination of events, and you're having to do something about it, how are you enjoying being police chief? I guess let's start with that. How'd you get into this mess?
Well, it's how did I get into the job as chief of police, or how am I enjoying the job as chief of police?
Tell me both.
Well, I've always enjoyed a challenge. I always say if it was easy, anybody could do it. It certainly isn't easy. It's something I like doing, testing my skills, my administrative ability that I spent a long time trying to develop, and this is certainly a test. Crime is at an all-time high. We were given the dubious honor of being the most violent city in the nation, over 40,000 for 2009. But on the same front page of the Saginaw News that story ran, there was also a story that said that we had violent crime index in Saginaw down almost 17% over the year before. And our homicide rate was at 47% what it was last year, almost half. Our shootings were down 30+%. We may be number one, but we're struggling to get out of the category of most violent, and hopefully, if we keep going in the direction we're going, we'll get there.
And what goes into the mix of a area or a city being violent, in your opinion? Look, we've got a crime problem in Flint, a crime problem in Detroit, so it seems like Michigan's got issues there.
Well, it's a combination of a lot of things. It's been said by people smarter than me that the recession hit Michigan first. We're first in, we'll be the last out. Because of our economic base being the auto industry and the turn that's taken, we are at a loss for viable jobs, viable alternatives to a life of crime. Our education system isn't probably performing the way it could. There's been a lot of criticism of public schools and public education. We have a high percentage of unemployed, and we also have a high percentage of unemployables that still need to exist, and they're going to find a way to generate money, and if that's through robbery, burglary, or dope sales, they're going to do that. I think that there's a whole long laundry list that goes into the formula that results in a really, truly violent environment in a city like Saginaw or Flint or Detroit.
You know, as you work on these problems, I've noticed you work on them two different ways. I've been with you at meetings before the public, before ministers, trying to enlist those folks to improve the community. I've been with you at meetings where we talked about jobs and employability, as you're talking now. But we got the other end of this at the same time, of more people getting out of prison and whether or not they're going to commit crimes again. How do you do a balancing act there as a cop between the caring part of it and the stern father image?
Well, it's tough, and you're opening an entire can of worms there that I could really get in trouble talking about. I'm not by any means an expert on the corrections side of the criminal justice system. I specialize in putting people there, people that need to go to jail.
Yeah.
What happens to them while they're there, and why they come out essentially no better off than they went in. That I really can't tell you what's going on that generates a 68, 69% recidivism rate in our correctional system. Something's not working, but I don't know what is taking place to know what it is. So, rather than, try and speculate on what corrections could be doing better, all I can tell you is that The revolving door metaphor is very, very real. We keep locking them up. They keep letting them out. We keep locking them up again. We see the same faces over and over and over again.
You know, there was a gang, or I guess maybe is a gang, 12th Street gang, Sunnyside gang, I guess. Is your attention to those folks, do you think that is part of what happened to reduce the crime statistics last year? Or what do you achieve, both those two, getting rid of those guys or
Well, I think there's a number of things that go into the reductions that we saw this past year, and that's part of it. In early 2008, I think it was February, we locked up 22 people from Sunnyside on and North Side on federal indictments. They went away to federal penitentiaries, and they won't be coming back to Saginaw for a long, long time because they don't have prisoner reentry programs in the federal system.
Really?
No, they keep them behind bars, incarcerated, where they can't do damage to the community.
I think you'd endorse that.
I endorse that wholeheartedly. You know, there's a long list of things. Like I said, there's no one magic pill. We just installed some state-of-the-art technology first in the state to have shot spotter.
That's a shot spotter. I don't know if people know what that is. By the way, if you're just tuning in, I'm with Police Chief Gerald Cliff from Saginaw. We're about to talk about something new and perhaps pretty effective in helping our police. So tell us about Shot Spotter.
Well, Shot Spotter is a series of acoustic sensors installed in an array covering a little over a square mile of our city. The area that we selected was based on calls for service involving gunfire. Shot Spotter is, as I said, acoustic sensors that detect and locate within 20 feet the source of a shot fired. They do it with GPS satellite coordination. There is a satellite generated picture that's available where you're looking at the area that's covered by Shot Spotter on a computer inside of a police car. You get an audio signal that there's been a shot fired. A little pin shows up on a map, tells you exactly where it is. You can zoom in and you can actually see if it was next to the tree just to the left of a driveway. You know, at whatever address the equipment tells you the shot emanated from. In testing, we had less than 6-second delay from the time the shot was fired until it showed up on the in-car computer in our police cars. The strategy we employed is that we installed it in 1 square mile of the city. We did not divulge where that square mile was to our residents. I have a 17.5 square mile city. Our shooting crime went down over 30%.
Really?
The first year. Well, not even the first year, because it went online in mid-March.
Yeah.
By January of the same year, it was down over 33%. Right now, we're installing a 2nd square mile.
What does it cost for each one of those you put in?
The first phase 1 was $250,000, about $248,000. We got that through a federal budgetary earmark. The second phase 2, because we're using the same servers and a lot of the same hardware, is $200,000. Will the third one be another 200? Well, we're not going to do a third one right yet. We got a third earmark for $300,000, and what we want to do is we want to start doing a little experimentation with what's called PODS cameras, or passive observation digital surveillance. It's open air video surveillance available on a secure internet source to police. We will be able to monitor what is taking place real time within view of these cameras of the system.
So you put a camera someplace and you can kind of watch? Is that
Yes.
what that means?
Yes. And those views will be available real time, again, on the computer screens inside the police cars, on computer screens inside the police department. We're looking at terabyte size storage capacity in our servers, and the events that occur in front of and in view of those cameras will be stored for up to 30 days at a time. So if we don't happen